Did you ever try not to? No. Magic is really not about sex. Sexual magic, dog, evil. Not magic whatsoever. No. It's more tantra. For a different story could help you, but really not. Sorry, we're not. So, oh, but really, magic is not about sex. But really, not without me whatsoever. Meaning the philosophy of magic, correct? Well, the philosophy of magic. That's it's a really difficult one, because if you understand magic is in a symbolized language not the only way it can be expressed, that it has a set of ideas, rules that can follow up to. You need to find your own value to it by not harming other people. Meaning, I know channeling and so forth could be real, but you cannot channel someone, Stop trying to do that. If you try to do that, don't try to channel the angels. Man. Don't stop trying to do that. The angel should kill you for that. Any demon, any entity should. If an entity would let you do that to it, then you will pay a price, Interacting with someone, a person, sibling, something like it. Okay. For that you would pay a price, though, and with God it's impossible for the angels neither, I believe. It's all bullshit. The entities would lie to you. It's a lie. 100%. It's a lie. You're getting fooled. And if you wish to get fooled, then go your own way with that. Can't help you either. But the philosophy of magic, if you just are here on this channel to hear my opinion about how to find your own guide by your own self without harm or ill sins done to people, because free and sin is a fair, well explained concept that says you should do a minor sin to someone that agrees on it, meaning agreeing in person, not satanic agreement. That was also very fair explained. If you didn't get that, maybe it's your problem, not ours. But if you really just want to stick for the opinion of guideline, well, magic does follow its own rules, It has some aspects of this, but it is also fairly without this. Like, you cannot expect magic to be of a sort that will direct you in a decision. Meaning, it's more about freedom. If you understand magic, you really do more understand about freedom, because meditation itself is also magic. This you can see, for example, in the many forms of meditation that it can take. You can, for example, meditate on a desire. But what does it mean with desire? I said sexual magic and so forth, technical magic, out of question. So if you, for example, have the desire, I drink the raspberry drink, or like me right now, I smoke the cigarette. We can meditate on the cigarette. Drink a thought, take 2 puffs, take the addiction away, and smoke less then. Of course, I'm fairly addicted to cigarettes, I smoke all the time, but nonetheless, I try to meditate on it and control that addiction in a really different way. It's nonetheless a weakness, but a weakness I don't want to lose. We don't want to lose. I like it. I like the cigarette. Whoever. If I die by lung cancer from it, 100% worth it. 100%. I don't need a new lung. I can just jump off a cliff. I don't even need to give the hospital some reparations. If I get lung cancer from it, I'll just die. Devastated. So then I just jump off a cliff and I'm done with. Gone with. Worth it. Not worth it to get a new lung by someone or by an organ machine. This medical stuff really, if it's true, then that bad. Because you would feel it in your spirit. As soon as you know magic is real, you know you have a spirit. Why waste it on the material life? Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. 100% irrelevant. It doesn't make sense. 100% doesn't make sense. So basically, Um, that really doesn't make sense. 100% not. I mean, not whatsoever. Whatsoever, ever. Um, so basically, why waste the physical plane for what? No. Physical plane can be if you don't dismantle yourself, like for example, harm your arm, like cut it off and then live a year alive. Well, oh yeah, that's very dumb. But if you die, you die. That is yourself. Don't complain to somebody about it. If I don't know. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to end your life. But that's just it. But it's my opinion. Our opinion. So basically, magic now is in the same way similar. It doesn't kill you if you don't overdo it and don't do the total wrong ideas, but it can, of course. So, what is a good direction, a good sense to magic? Well, that's also the one idea that needs to be conjured up. You need to find a guide to what sense you want to give magic and how you want to sense magic, meaning the direction of your endeavor, meaning that where your directional flow of idea, just like in meditation, goes. Meaning, if I smoke the cigarette and we inhale the two puffs, where does my thought go with the cigarette? Does it go to the beneficial side, or do I just waste the cigarette? That makes sense. Do I then take the benefit and evaluate something on the possibilities that I now have with the cigarette on non-self or other harm? That makes a benefit. So, everything comes with a down and upside. That is fairly well Kabbalic principle of magic and life. So that's fairly obvious. Of course, the downside should not be negated, but it also should not be endowed, meaning to all degrees. For example, if you take a credit over 100,000 euros, which I didn't, by the way, we didn't, then you should not disregard that person in prison or something like it. Just because the person has debt, either that now at the moment have 10-6 debt, but it's fairly irrational to believe plus 500, 11 5, 11 1, 11 up to 11 5, but not more, really not. So if that's the case, then farewell, right? But even if someone has like 500,000 debt, you know, we're speaking now about money here, for example. Money is very important, and that is fairly irrational to believe then that makes you vulnerable to anything whatsoever, and that you should be judged for that. And magic, in a similar way, is similar. The downsides are in accordance to what you gain from the upside. Meaning, if you gained a lot of money, you need to pay it back with some loan. You have fairly enough time. And if you can't do it, the rules of the magic game was on the bad side. Meaning, then the person who gave out the magic loan, the magic itself, not me, lost. But don't try to do that with an entity. They rather can get very weird and dark and not nice. Yeah. Don't try. Oh God is in attack with me. How do you? Yeah. Sure you know. So so it's good the way. Not to be so pitiful. They would answer prayers, just like the angels. It doesn't make sense. Prayer is for yourself. You should not be answering a prayer if you are a god of something. Even if other people are gods as well, you should not answer prayers. It's irrational. It doesn't make sense. It's narcissistic and irrational and doesn't fit God. So basically, the question in question is now that what is the guide to magic? Well, it's fairly similar. I'm talking too much again, but we are talking too much at the moment. So let's keep our words quick for this. but not quick, rather short. Anyway, um, so a guide. How do you sense the guide? How do you sense the direction of flow where the meditation goes, where the benefit is directioned and not too much on the downside? Meaning, if I smoke the cigarette, how do I sense where I should stop inhaling the smoke, how long I should inhale it, how much damage should I do to my body, on what degree of idea do I want to conjure this mechanism, if it thus is in fact deadly, up into my being, right? How much of it should be in work with what it can bring benefit to what it brings downside? How much of a choice do you have to do that, and so forth? How much choice is influenced by it, and how do you understand the further implicated versions of what will be or become you by doing any of this ritualized idea, which meditation is? Meditation is a ritual. Sex with your loved one can be, but it doesn't need to be. That's why love is so fairly great and not a drug. But besides of that, what is it with the ritual of the cigarette? Well, how much benefit can you draw from the cigarette and the downside not up into your being, right? That is fairly well explained, because as long as you inhale the cigarette, there was a quick exhale. I was thinking about it, and that. It's the way we smoke. Oh, of course, it's dangerous. Oh yeah, of course it makes not so much sense. You keep the tar in your lung, it's not a joint. Right? That doesn't make sense. But calming has a high benefit. So the downside is that you rather get quicker lung cancer. The longer you inhale smoke, the more damaging it is to your body. Of course, smoke is not deadly, and it has just some benefits of magical nature even. You just can work with it. It can be deadly, but doesn't need to be. So, worldview. But what was proven and what's not proven is it's not of matter there. Because you know all possible outcomes. You know what can happen and what should not, and what is not, and what can be. So which version of yourself do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that inhales smoke, quickly exhales it, smokes 2 cigarettes a day for calming, and knowing that the cigarette is deadly, or inhaling sometimes a little bit longer, but only smoke like 2-3 cigarettes in total or all life long, and therefore live more longer, even if this idea would be true, which doesn't necessarily need to be? Or do you want to be the person that takes the route of in conjuring in the smoke, and then even end the life 30 years more early, but therefore have smoked on the benefit, and thus, because you know magic is real, interacted with your spirit. And you will still prevail, you will still exist afterwards. Even if a sark traps you inside something, you can still escape that by some other mechanism that's fairly relevant. The body is just the body. It shall not be disintegrated, as previously said. The body is very important, but once you're dead, you're dead. That's not a matter. So, basically, what is of importance is that the time you're with your self-idealized body, how do you want to use that body? Do you want to make a lot of sports? Train it the whole time? Or do you rather just stay rather healthy and a little bit thin, but therefore not too sportive? Or you train in your mind the whole day and try to manifest the body by other means and other mechanisms. But does it draw power from the body? Of course. but does it give you your eternal idea, your soul, or something? Yeah, okay. As I said, it's all about this in the metaphysical material plane. But now, what is the guided magic? The guided magic is something completely different. It is versions of yourself that can be negated even by what you accomplish in the process of doing these ideas. Meaning, the downside is rather really, well, a downside. If you smoke the cigarette, you just may end up dead more soon. If you do magic, you may really change your spirit on the fundamental level that will always be ever-compassing and ever-greening you. Meaning, as soon as you understood that, you understand which power it possesses, but also which dangers, which is the power. Power can be dangerous, but doesn't need to be. Well, that does make sense. And there where we come to the sense of guide. How much are you able to invest not in the danger and giving yourself up, but in the idea to work with what could become the negation of the benefit? How much of the downside is in the cabal? How much of the hermetic laws are you willing to alchemize by the possible outcome of failure? That is basically a really fundamental principle to understanding magical concepts. Really, really, really fundamental principles. So if you understand that, then you can start to do not rituals, but understand meditation. And there we come to the sense of guide. Do you want to then go further? Do you want to investigate what this magic brings and accept that there is a danger, that you cannot lose your soul, but you can change it forever, unless you really work with an entity and sell yourself away. That really works. Or you are the man who gives up his physical or non-physical, meaning his appearance in a spiritual, to a wife that is always not using that for any personal prostitution or any thought of these ideas gain, but therefore maybe she also sells her soul away to you, but a woman's soul is different than a man's physical appearance. That rather equals the same. Unless the other harms the one by gain. Well, that's between the couple, for example. So, but this example out of the question. If you sell yourself away to an entity and say, yeah, I subscribe to this for my whole being, and I don't just inscribe myself, away-scribe myself, I really, well, whatever that is, a contract like this, no, thank you. I never did that. I may work for a devilish entity in my mind. Oh, no, I really would rather admit that. But that doesn't mean I sold my soul or myself. Right? That makes sense, right? Doesn't? I may work with some ideas, some beings, but it doesn't mean I scrapped myself away forever. I did scribe it to something, but not away. You can say that metaphorically speaking, but not literally. In German, you would say verschrieben, in the metaphorical sense and in the literal sense. But usually you would rather just say that in English you sold the goal. To know, sold, but away. But not the but. No. Meaning, that is rather an interesting idea. And that is rather a good idea to me. But therefore you also need to work. You don't just get things given by that idea. So it's rather a goal. It's a higher goal. If not, so not. But it's my opinion and my use and my idea. Now, do I trust these entities? Yes. Do I have valuable idea to trust them? Yes. Does it make sense to trust them? Yes. Would it still be the right choice if in the end my spirit just end up dead and my body too in the end of my lifetime? Sadly, yes. Right? That's also what you need to take into account. I don't believe that will happen. I will not be the one sitting there whining about that. You know? But this is not such a sort of contract. It's just knowledge. But it's also one of the possible dangers. You see the danger right there. So you see power, right? And you already have your own sort of power. You may be good in accomplishing tools. You may be good, really good in working with cards or designs or something like it. or ordering something in society but not society and people itself, or something of any sort, you know. And then you see a different kind of power, like me, for example, the power to teach better, to get better in words, to teach better. I can fairly well teach what I can teach, but not about, we cannot do that above our degrees. We don't want to with that. I'm not interested, man. I'm happy, very fucking happy. But do you understand this then? No. And you understand why magic has a danger, like every power, like everything that has power, any sort of power, any means of power, even meaning truth, even itself. So a woman's power, force, or power, just otherwise, just different. So what is then the guide now to magic, to meditation? Well, as I said, do you want to investigate that? Do you want to understand what lies and lays behind it? Without further danger here, unless that you have a psychosis, for example. Not a sticky one, but you need to resolve it. So at first, let's talk about what psychosis is, or crazy, before we further investigate this. Because with the previous concept, there should have not much happened. I will also make a video about that after this, directly. But basically it's a wrong thought, right? Psychosis means you went in the wrong direction with your thought, with your presence of yourself to your thoughts, and therefore you need to evaluate newly what you have been in these moments to get your mind on track of what you are. And if you're high-grading schizophrenic, meaning that you can conjure up voices but don't hear them, you don't have psychosis but you can make yourself psychotic and so forth, you really need a stable mind and cannot have distraction in your life. Okay. So this is so fucking irrelevant. So basically, to the guide of magic, meditation is the first way to accessing what is that archetype, which is not a sense to it, not a guide, but meditation can help you find a sense what the guide is. Not the guide is. What the guide is. Not the guide is. What the guide is. In case anyone understood that wrongly. So, for example, if you meditate on the cigarette, as said previously, you can understand what would guide you if you would sense something higher or beyond the power that you can perceive, or the power that you can accomplish by accomplishment, meaning working by failure. And there we come to the point. Magic now wants you to not fail. It wants you to be a successful person, but not money-wise or something like it. You know, it wants you to understand it by your own degree. You can listen to such videos like I make right now. But the rest then also becomes fairly relevant, because, for example, if you would join an occult or cult for the reason to gain knowledge that secretly hides you and empowers you and so forth, magic doesn't like that. Really not. Magic likes the idea that you understand these concepts for yourself, that you work with what is basic knowledge, that you have, for example, like we explained, an idea, a pattern that you can develop further, that you can share with no secrecy, but some things are better kept hidden for a well good reason. Not because the people want to totally accomplish ultimate power on every level, or that's too much of a danger to them. Yes, of course, you should keep yourself safe. Of course, always. And as always, you should keep yourself safe once you have these ideas. You know what I mean, or would work. But the more interesting question is rather, what would you want to keep hidden if it has such of a power that you could even turn yourself on the spot to an animal? Just hypothetically, if it would exist, you know, if there would exist, you could turn on spot without selling your soul, just by knowledge, meaning even of yourself knowledge. turn yourself on the spot to an animal and fly around, even through time, and appear somewhere totally else. If that power you would possess, by magic, not by appearance, not by genetic law, but by magic, even if you would have it otherwise. Or something else that is like magic, or of magic. What would you want to keep hidden? You know? It's a fair, well, good explained concept there, right? What would you want to keep hidden? It's really much important. Now, who would you want to exclude from this as well? Why would it be kept hidden? That's a whole different question. Whole different question. Now, for that I don't care right now. Not so ever. What so fucking ever. I like the cigarette, and then we talk about the light and sense. So basically, meaning. Give me a second.